Right, so we're going to look at the first grammar section, the first grammar topic from Prepare 4. So these are B1 students, right, that should be watching this video. And you'll notice in the first topic, it's our friend, it's present simple and present continuous. Well, at B1 level, this is in the first topic because you really should know both the structure and the reasons why you're using present simple and present continuous. At this level, you should really be able to dominate these two tenses perfectly, right? So we're just going to go over one more time, the last time in your life, hopefully, well, no, but the last time, the most important time, let's say, we're going to have a look at present simple and present continuous again, and we're going to nail it this time. We're going to look at the structure. First of all, the structure is really simple, isn't it? The structure is really simple in present simple. Anyway, let's have a look. It says present simple has two forms, and it's unbelievable how hard it is for people to remember this, to get it right, okay? But we only put S on the ends of verbs in English when we're talking in the third person. And just remembering, what is the third person? The third person is when you and me, two people, you and me are talking about a third person. Three people, right? You, me, and the third person that's over there. And the third person doesn't have to be a person. It can be a television, it can be a cow, it can be an abstract concept like hard work. Anyway, that might be a bit too confusing. Let's have a look. I, you, we, they, right? I, you, all of us, and them, collectives. The verb is always the same. It's in infinitive. Get, study, watch, go, whatever, right? There shouldn't be any ambiguity there. When do we change the verb in present simple? When we're talking about he or she or it. When we're talking about a third person. 1, 2, 3. You, me, and the third person we are talking about, right? So in most verbs, it's just a case of putting an S at the end of the verb. No, sort of gets. But obviously, we have a few exceptions, like, for example, when the verb ends in CH, or when the verb ends in O, well, we have to put ES at the end, or when it ends in a consonant and a Y, like, for example, study, then we take off the Y and we put IES. So there's a few things that are a bit difficult to remember sometimes, but basically, put an S at the end of the verb when you're talking in the third person, when me and you are talking about a third person. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is surprisingly difficult for people to remember. So, let's move on. How do we say something negative in present simple? We put don't or doesn't, do not or does not, right? Does not or doesn't is in the third person, right? So, I, you, we, they, don't get, don't study, don't watch, don't go. Very simple, right? And in the third person, for he, she, or it, a thing that we're talking about, doesn't get, doesn't study, doesn't go. So write don't for everything except third person where we use doesn't. And then for making questions, we use do, right? We put do before the subject of the sentence, right? So I can say, do I study? Do you watch television or something like that? But if I'm asking a question about a third person, about him or her or my television, does it go fast? Does your car go fast? Does it go fast? Does she study a lot? Yeah? I think that should be relatively easy to understand. Now here's the thing, when do we use present simple? Now this is quite similar to Latin languages, Romance languages. I think in general there are a few exceptions, but let's see. It says, we use the present simple for things that happen regularly. Now, that doesn't mean that they happen all the time, right? That they happen a lot. It just means that we are talking about how often something happens, how frequently, the frequency with which something happens. Let's look at the examples. It says, I walk to school with a friend every day. All right, that's how often I do that activity. My sister doesn't, third person, doesn't go to the sports club very often. My sister doesn't go, that's how often she goes. Not very often, right? Question, what do you do? Bit confusing because the main verb is do and we're making a question, so we have to use the auxiliary do. So we have two do's. What do you do on Sundays? Very easy. I want to know, what are you doing this Sunday? Or what did you do last Sunday? No. What do you do generally? All Sundays. What do you normally do on Sundays, right? Okay, good. What else do we use the present simple for? Facts. What are facts? Facts are things that are true, information, reality, okay? The way things are, okay? So, for example, we live near my grandparents. That's a fact, right? We live near my grandparents. That's where we live. It's just the way things are. It's a fact. It's true, okay? The weather doesn't get very cold here. It doesn't get very cold here. This is a warm climate where it's very rare for the weather to get cold. It doesn't get cold here. That's another fact, right? Okay. Verbs called state verbs. Okay, now there's a lot of debate about state verbs. State verbs can sometimes be used in the continuous tense, but not very often. And usually, even if you can use them in a continuous with an ing, you can also use them in the present simple with basically the same meaning, right? So we have words like believe, hate, know, like, love, mean, need, own, prefer, understand, want. All of these words are usually used in a simple tense, right? It's not very common to hear believing, hating, knowing, liking, loving, meaning, needing. You can use them in a continuous tense sometimes, right? But it's not very common, and usually you can use them in simple. So here are some examples, right? It says, Mike knows the answer to your question. Mike knows the answer to your question. That's true, right? Either you know something or you don't know something. It would be very strange to say Mike is knowing the answer, right? Doesn't sound right, okay? Alice doesn't understand what you want. Yeah, okay. Sometimes you could say, I am not understanding what you are saying. But normally it's fine to say you understand something or you don't understand something, right? It's not necessary to say I am understanding or I am not understanding, right? State verb. You understand the state my head is in. I understand something or I don't understand something, right? Remember, I don't remember your address. Yeah, I can't remember where you live. Either I can remember or I can't. In this case, I can't, right? What does this word mean? What does this word mean? A word has a meaning. It means something, or it doesn't mean something else. But it cannot be in a situation where it is meaning something. No, that doesn't make sense. No. So, Another example, does your teacher own a sports car? Own is a funny verb that we use a lot in English. It means that you have something and it belongs to you. It is your possession. You possess it, right? So we use it a lot, for example, to say, I own a house. I own a car. Yeah, look at me. Great. I own things. I have money. Right? So, good. Let's have a look at the first activity that we have here on the grammar exercises, and it's very easy, it's very simple. We just have to put all of the verbs in this exercise in present simple, so it shouldn't be too difficult. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Let's see. Okay, right, so it says complete the sentences. Present simple form of the verbs. So, first sentence. You prefer volleyball or basketball? How well can you see that? I'm going to make it a bit bigger, I think. No? Make it a bit bigger? Yeah, I think so. Let's see. So it says, you see all of those right to the end? Yeah, that looks good to me. So it says, you prefer volleyball or basketball? You prefer volleyball or basketball? Very simple. The answer here would be, is a question, do you prefer volleyball or basketball? What do you prefer? Do you prefer this or that? Right? Present simple, because it's a state verb. No? You prefer one thing or you prefer another. It's just a fact. It's true. Right? Number 2 says, Angelo never chews sandwiches for lunch because he not like bread. Well, what is it? He never chews. We have to put it in the third person. It's going to be, he never chooses, right? It's going to be, he never chooses sandwiches for lunch because he not like, third person, he doesn't like. That's okay, even though it's not very well written. He doesn't like bread, right? He never chooses the sandwiches because he doesn't like bread, right? This is the frequency with which he chooses sandwiches. Never. And the reason is, well, this is how he feels. He doesn't like bread. Okay, number 3 says, we not see our cousins very often because they live in America. So, we don't see our cousins very often because they, a very common error here to put an S with they. No, they live in America. They live in America. It's a fact. That's where they live. And the reality is we don't see them very often. That's how often we see them. Not very often. Right? Okay. 4. It says, where he go after school? It's a question. It's in the third person. We're asking a question about him. Right? So, where does he go after school? Where does he go after school? I want to know where he goes. Where he gets to. Yeah? Every day, I guess, in general. Number 5, we not want to go home. So, we not want to go home. We don't want to go home. We don't want to go home. That's just a fact. We don't want to go. We don't want to go home. Okay? Yeah, it's a state verb. Want, yes? It wouldn't sound right to say we are not wanting to go home. You know, it would be far more normal to say we want something or we don't want something. In this case, we don't want to go home. Number 6 says, Sarah not play football, but she watch it on TV. So, in general, the reality is in her life that Sarah doesn't play football because she, but She watches, be careful with the word watches, we have to put ES at the end, right? She watches it on TV, right? She watches it on TV because it ends in CH, the verb we put ES at the end. Okay, number 7. He know the time. I'm asking a question about my subject, which is he. So auxiliary before he is does he know? And we don't put an S on the end of this verb because we have the S here in the auxiliary verb. So we don't need to put it here on the main verb. Okay, and the final present simple sentence that we have here says Emma studied French. It's a fact that Emma studies, be careful how you write this, studies French, right? That's a fact. She studies French. Third person, so we take off the Y because study ends in D-Y, so it's a consonant and then Y. We take off the Y and put I-E-S. Okay, so we have finished with the first exercise. A couple more that we have to do in today's class. Let's have a quick look at the explanation for present continuous. Now, how well can you see that? Yeah, I think you can see everything just about. No? So present continuous. Present continuous is fairly simple. It's often, I think, by the time you get to B1 level, most students understand that present continuous is to talk about what is happening now in this moment. But it also has some other uses which we're going to look at as well. So, the important thing first of all is the structure. So we use the verb to be, right? The verb to be, am, are, is. And everyone, so many people get confused still at B1 level. When do I use am? When do I use is? And when do I use are? The most simple way to remember is I am, right? And then when we're talking in third person, when we're talking about one other person, you and me are talking about another person, that's is, right? The television is broken. She is a good student, right? And are for everything else. You are. They in the other class, those people over there, they are. We, all of us, are. Yes? Okay, so remember that. So it says, I am playing. Right? The verb in ing, yes? To show that it is happening now, usually, right? I am playing. You, we, they are working. He, she, it is helping. And then in brackets we have the abbreviated forms there. Okay, so how do we say a negative, make a negative sentence in present continuous? It says we use am not, aren't, isn't to make a negatives. I am not, I'm not working. I am not working. They are not or aren't helping. She isn't or is not playing. And the auxiliary that we have in present continuous, which everybody forgets, is the verb to be. We just change its place. We put the verb to be in front of our subject. We don't use the verb or the auxiliary do or does, right? In present continuous, we use the verb to be. So we say, instead of I am helping, we say, am I helping? You are working. Are you working? He is playing. Is he playing? Right? Now, the uses for present continuous, as I said, a couple of uses that perhaps you haven't seen until B1 level. So let's have a look. It says something that is happening now or around now. So you should know that. You should know that it's used to say what is happening in this moment. So we are doing our homework. We are doing our homework. That is what we are doing right now. Okay? Good. Temporary situations. I know that in Spanish that's the same. If something is a temporary situation, a situation that is going to change, probably in the near future. We use present continuous as well. I am helping my dad in the office this week, right? So normally I don't help my dad in the office, no? But this week, yes, this week I'm helping my dad in the office. Good. Okay. Here's the strange one, future plans. Future plans, but we're using present continuous. How are we going to use present continuous for the future? Right, so that often confuses people a little bit and they forget how to use it. But this is very important because it's very common. They are playing table tennis after school, and people will translate that as though it's happening right now. No, they are playing table tennis after school. It means that is what is going to happen later. They're going to go and play tennis after school. Okay? This isn't happening now. It's often for situations, for plans which, I can't get out of. The plans are fixed. They are already made. I'm sorry, I can't see you tomorrow. I'm working all day tomorrow, right? Sorry, I can't do anything about it. We use present continuous for these fixed, definite plans in the future, right? Okay, so practice. What we're going to look at here is an exercise where all we have to do is put all of these sentences in present continuous. So again, it shouldn't be too difficult. Let's see, can you see all of that? Yes, I think you can. So, let's have a look then. It's I didn't manage to clean the board there. Let's have a look. So, complete the sentences. Use the present continuous form of the verbs. Right, good. So, first, number 1, I cycle to the beach with some friends next weekend. It's a future plan. It's what I'm going to do. This is a very strange sentence, I think, for some people, particularly at B1 level. If you're trying to translate this into Spanish especially, this is a really difficult one to translate. But basically, what does that mean? It means that next weekend, I'm going to go with my friends to the beach. How am I going to get there? I'm going to cycle. But we say it as though we're pedaling right now. No, I'm cycling to the beach. Right now? How are you talking to me? On your phone? No. I'm cycling to the beach next weekend, right? I'm telling you what I will be doing next weekend. It's a plan that I have made with my friends, right? Okay, good. So, I've just realised what I've done. I didn't write the verb to be. I said it, but I didn't write it. So, yeah, that should say I am cycling to the beach with some friends next weekend. There we go. Good job that this isn't an exam, eh? This isn't a test. Good. Number 2. My brother not watch sport on TV this week because of his exams. He has exams this week. That's why he isn't watching sport on TV this week, right? Normally he watches a lot of sport on TV, but this week he can't. He can't because he's got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of exams that he needs to revise for. So yeah, he's not watching it this week. Good. 3A says, what you do at the moment. I want to know what you are doing right now, right in this very moment. And this is easy, no? So what are you doing right now? What are you doing at the moment? We watch a nature film because we study insects at school now. Yeah, we are studying. I'm using the studying now. How do I rub this off? We are watching a nature film because we study, because we are studying. We are studying insects at school. Very good. Yeah, we're studying insects at school now. Good. Brilliant. Wonderful. Okay, so that's present simple and present continuous, but now we're going to have a look at an exercise where we have to mix both present simple and present continuous. You have to choose the correct option each time, right? So let's get straight into that then. Here we go. Close this there. Wonderful. Here we go. Exercise 3 says choose the correct form of the verbs. Let's have a look at that then. Oh no! Oh no! You can't see them. Start again. Yes. You didn't see any of that. Good. Right, so let's have a look. How well can that be seen? Fairly well, I would say. No? Pretty good. Pretty damn good. Now, so it says, choose the correct form of the verbs. Right, so we're going to choose present simple or present continuous, right? So, first option, in number 1, it says, I sit, or I am sitting on the bus with my friends. So, is this something you do normally? Or is it something you are doing right now? Sounds like this person is saying what they're doing now. I'm sitting on the bus with my friends right now. No? I'm sitting on the bus with my friends, right? We are going to the match in London. Well, what are we doing? We're sitting on the bus, and why are we sitting on the bus? Because we're doing something. We're heading to London. We are going to the match in London, right? We are going to the match in London. Our team plays or is playing in the final this afternoon. That's something that's definitely going to happen, right? We are going to London. Why? Because something is going to happen this afternoon. Our team is playing in the final this afternoon, so we are very excited. Our team in the final very often. Our team, we're talking about the frequency with which this happens, no? Very often. This is something that doesn't happen very often. Our team doesn't play the final very often, but this season, temporary situation, right? It doesn't always work out like this, but this season, they are playing really well. Just one interesting point here. Notice how team can be referred to as a singular object, right? A team, but it can also be referred to as a plural group of people because it's a collective, right? We do this quite a lot. We'll say Chelsea are playing really well at the moment. No? And yeah, we refer to a team as a collective. We say the police are coming, even if it's the police, which sounds singular, no? But anyway. Good, they are playing really well. Good, this season, temporary situation. Number 6, it says, I believe they can win, or I am believing they can win. Well, this is a state verb. Either you believe something or you don't believe it. So, I believe they can win. Yes, very good. I believe they can win. So, after the match, what? After the match, we have dinner in London, or we are having dinner in London. This is a plan for the future. It's something we are going to do. It's something we have decided to do, right? I'm telling you about my definite plans with my friends. So I would say, after the match, we are having dinner in London. No? Okay. Number 8. I want, or I am wanting, to go to a restaurant near the stadium. Well, want is a state verb. It tells me how you feel or what you think, right? So I would say, I want to go to a restaurant near the stadium. That's what I want, but but they are getting very busy on match days. So what happens on match days generally is that they get very busy on match days. Yeah, that's what happens. A lot of people go to the restaurants near the stadium on match days when there is a match, you know? And so there's a lot of people. They get very busy, you know? So they get very busy on match days. So we are eating at a place in another part of the city. Oh, I didn't really show you the options. We eat or we are eating at a place in another part of the city. Well, it's a definite plan, no? This is what we are definitely going to do. We are eating at another part of the city. At a place in another part of the city. There you go. That's a quick summary of the present simple and the present continuous for B1, beginner B1 students, the ones that are beginning the B1 course this year. Hopefully that helps you a lot. Leave comments under the video if you need any extra help. Goodbye.